And then the next step to creating the nonprofit marketing plan is to actually map out your activities. I'm sure you've all been waiting with bated breath to get to this part because this is what people usually think about when they think about making a marketing plan. What are we going to do? But don't skip the earlier steps because you know, there's kind of no point in planning out activities unless you've built the foundation. So the nonprofit marketing plan should use that we are going to go over today, and the insights that I'm going to share with you are from the inbound marketing methodology. Um, you know, some of you may be familiar with inbound marketing. If you're not, a lot of times inbound marketing gets talked about as content marketing as well, but there's a lot more to the inbound marketing methodology other than producing good SEO content. Really, it's about putting the human first. It's about attraction rather than promotion. You're going to attract people to the organization rather than telling them all the great stuff that you're doing right away. You really are working to solve for their needs and challenges, and it focuses on attracting the right visitors and then cultivating relationships with them by providing the content that they're looking for and that's meaningful for them. It really requires us to move beyond a simple website and an outdated sales funnel. I'm not saying um, nonprofits all think about a sales funnel because oftentimes that's not there. But it's not just about, I think in practice, a lot of organizations do think about a sales funnel in the sense that it's all about getting our message out there. And if you're in marketing, there's a lot of pressure to do that. Well, it doesn't work in the current SEO climate and in the current culture. There has to be a movement beyond just pushing our stuff out there and trying to move people through a funnel. It does result in exponential growth that's worth the effort. And it's based on the momentum of what we call the inbound marketing flywheel. The flywheel has continuous movement and momentum. As people engage with your organization, they keep moving. So the marketing phases of the flywheel we see right here in the middle. Our supporters, donors, and members are right there in the middle. It's all about them. Marketing is working to attract them. We'll talk about how in just a minute. Engage them, and of course, delight them and keep them involved. And the customer phases are on the outside. So strangers, prospects, supporters, promoters. This is where people are moving from being someone who's not even familiar with our organization to becoming a prospect, someone who might come to a training, might come to an event, turning into a supporter, a regular attendee, and then sharing the message, spreading the word. So this is the inbound marketing flywheel. We can see it here again in the middle. What we're doing here now is starting to think about some of the activities that you may be familiar with that are marketing activities and really what they do, why we should be doing them, how they fit in with this methodology. Attracting visitors is what we do by publishing content, blogs, any content on the website, promoting content and doing promotion of our programs on social media, doing PPC ad campaigns, so using pay-per-click ad technology, whether you have a Google Ad Grants program or are paying for Google advertising, social media ad campaigns, pop-up forums, all of these things are ways of attracting visitors. And then engaging them is where we start to use things like downloadable content, calls to action, email marketing, personalization, segmentation, social engagement, having a chat or chat bot on your site, and then customizing that process of turning, when you're actually working with people that are considering attending your events or training or becoming donors, finessing those materials that you use for that. And then finally, delighting. The activities that are associated with delighting include email marketing, social inboxes, services, knowledge base. There's lots of technology that can be used to actually delight people in the process of meeting their needs once they've gotten involved in the organization. So bottom line is there is a purpose. There has to be a concrete purpose for every marketing activity, and we need to know what it is. When we plan inbound marketing activities, we plan them strategically. And we break them down into 6 different categories in this presentation. I'll be talking about inbound marketing activities in the following groups. We'll be talking about content strategy, email marketing, social media, digital advertising, analysis and optimization, and finally, sales and marketing alignment. So content is really the heart of a digital marketing plan. And the foundation of inbound marketing is really centered around creating content that speaks uniquely to your audience and the different stages of the journey that they're going through. Here's a list of a bunch of different types of online content, just to take a look at it, and think about maybe how many of these things are we doing at our organization, and how could they fit in with an inbound marketing strategy. We'll start with pillar pages and topic clusters. I touched on that a little bit. We do a whole separate workshop on this, so we won't get into the details, but the way that SEO works now really requires organizations to publish a long authoritative page called a pillar page on a topic that you have unique expertise on. That's how you're going to succeed at SEO. And you're going to surround that pillar page with smaller pieces of content that link inward to it. So this is meaningful content that answers the questions that your ideal personas are looking to have answered. And the pillar page has specific components to it. It has to have its own navigation, graphics, ideally an embedded video. All of the things that we know make pillar pages succeed. It's not just a bunch of content. And here we're looking at, how that pillar page is surrounded by smaller topics. They can be blogs. I think that probably the easiest thing to talk about is blogs, because that's where we can see, hey, this blog is going to be about a smaller subset of the larger topic. Pillar page is, you've got a pet parent's guide to caring for your dog or cat. That's a long authoritative page touching on basically all the topics that you're going to be curious about as a pet parent. And then here we have a blog on how to know when to take your dog or cat to the vet. So these things are going to be grabbed by people who are doing search. They're going to get an exposure to your expertise, and they're going to become your friend. But this is about the attract part. This is about how do we get found, and this is the basic methodology for that. Premium content is where we go from, hey, you've found us on search because we published some great content that you like, and now you become one of our contacts and we can build a relationship with you. So premium content is something that can be downloaded, or it's really anything that has a form where the contact is going to share their information with you. Backing up all of your content is a content mission statement. This is another one of those foundational pieces that belongs in your marketing plan. A content mission statement is kind of similar to your organization's mission statement. It's the why behind your the creation of your content. So the difference between your mission statement and your content mission statement is the mission statement talks about your organization and why it exists. The content mission statement talks specifically about your content and why you're creating it. So it helps you determine the why before the what. You don't spend a lot of time writing a bunch of blogs, writing a pillar page without understanding what the goal is, because when you understand your content mission statement, you're going to increase your likelihood of getting found by the right people. You're going to set the tone for your entire content marketing strategy with this statement. And finally, you're going to ensure that there's alignment and purpose between your marketing team and the rest of the organization, because everybody believes ideally in your mission. This is a way of making everybody believe in your marketing. So here's an example, kind of a template that we use for writing content mission statements. And it goes like this. Our mission is to blank. I'm sure you have that language, plug it in. But when it comes to our content strategy, it's not about doing that. It's about the idea that everyone should know how to blank. So taking the example of the organization that we used in our sample, One Health Organization, our mission, and I won't get the words exactly right, but our mission is to um, make sure that everyone who needs veterinary care can get it regardless of income. But when it comes to our content strategy, it's not about doing that. It's about the idea that everyone should know how to be a great pet parent. So those are just examples. And definitely work on your content mission statement. Content mapping is another tool that's used to plan the right content to be able to achieve your revenue goals and your mission goals. So a customer journey map is this visual representation of how a customer or prospect, this is sales language, but how a person goes through a process to achieve a goal with your organization while also satisfying their own motivations, their needs and pain points. So here's a look at the content mapping tool that we use. We can see what's called the buyer's journey in the commercial world, but the persona's journey is here, moving from awareness to consideration, decision, and delight. And then these are the kinds of content that are most appropriate. So we need to have this steady stream of content for every phase of that person's journey. They become aware of a problem or something, maybe it's a societal problem that they are just learning about, just starting to develop an awareness of. They then are defining their problem, researching it, learning more about it and how to solve it. They're in the decision phase, they're choosing a solution. They're saying, oh, this is what needs to happen. And then in delight, they're becoming an advocate, promoting, continuing to participate in your training, for example. And then down here, we have the types of content. So we move from, if you remember the slide where all the different types of content were listed and it's kind of bewildering, we move from that to, oh, okay, we need to have published this type of content to help people when they're learning about an issue. And we need to develop this type of content when we're starting to guide them toward our solution, over here when they're considering who to get that solution from, and then over here to keep engaging with them. And then here we have we're showing the life cycle stage and assets that are appropriate for those stages of the buyer's journey in some specific ways. So this is an example of how you might fill out a tool and develop content for every stage of the persona's journey for the particular organization that we just talked about. So they have a persona for their potential donor. This is the kind of content that could be published, and we fill this out and then dive into creating the content through kind of the particulars, the specifics of the activities of the marketing plan. We want to start obviously with the blog. The website needs work. Our programs are really our key tool in developing and promoting an accurate awareness of the kinds of issues that we deal with, and on down the line, getting into specific things like video testimonials and an e-newsletter. And then the mission, we keep that mission front and center. It really helps to connect everyone to the marketing effort across the organization. So all of those things that we just went over, the key pieces of the content marketing process, we have a resource for this. It's the Nonprofit Content Marketing Pillar page, and you can go to our website and take a look at it. It goes into a lot more depth on content marketing and what it is and how it all works. So when we look at marketing activities that help connect and engage, so we're moving from awareness to connection and engagement, email marketing is critical to this part of the marketing plan. So we engage in email marketing for a couple of different reasons. And for that reason, we have different types of emails that we're going to include in our marketing plan. There's regular content email subscription, often called an e-newsletter. Sometimes we don't use the word e-newsletter. I find that when we talk about e-newsletters, it really kind of reckons back to this, or harkens back to this day, when organizations were really expected to just send out news about what they were doing all the time. That's important. People do need to know what you're doing, but what they really need is information that's going to help them with their challenges and goals. So the content that we publish in a regular email, like a monthly email, is really geared, it's really informational and it's really educational. They're going to get something useful right there in their inbox. And yes, there will be a link or two in there to continue that journey and deepen their relationship with the content and with the organization. But the litmus test is, does donor Debbie find value right there in her inbox in what she's getting? Separate from that, we have lead nurturing sequences. So these are workflows, automated workflows that are providing personalized content based on what we know about the person. What have they told us on the forms? What questions have we asked them to answer? So we're going to put them through a lead nurturing sequence where they're going to get a series of emails over time that continues providing relevant content and offers along their journey, and helps build the relationship with them to get them to the point where they are signing up for a training, they are making a donation, they are becoming a member. And then finally, special promotional emails that go out when something big happens. Here's an example of one of the e-newsletters that what an e-newsletter could look like in the content marketing model, the inbound marketing model. So social media is another tool that's really key in this part of the persona's journey with your organization. So we want to plan social media activities that promote shareable content and expand your reach with your social media channels. It's a fine line between promoting content in a promotional way and promoting content in a way that's going to satisfy the challenges and goals of your personas. So, we want to use social media to bring fresh, qualified traffic to the website. We're going to promote the content we have, but we're going to do it in a way that is that's engaging and informative for everybody that you've managed to attract to the organization. So we're building on that foundation of content marketing by creating social posts that are attractive, interesting, engaging, and bring people to the website for further conversion and further engagement. This is separate from the other activity. There are other kinds of social media activity that are really crucial, like engaging, answering comments, having dialogue, shares, all of those different types of engagement. Those are separate and they need to be included in your marketing plan, but they're not quite as plannable in terms of, hey, we're going to plan out our social media strategy for the next year and the types of content we're going to promote. I think what's really important with that, the engagement part of social media, is to just make sure that you've got the resources consistently allocated for that. So you have hours, you measure that kind of activity in hours and availability and response time, as opposed to like numbers of posts and types of posts, which are going to go into your social media part of your marketing plan. And then advertising. So through advertising, we're going to promote shareable content and expand our reach in our social channels, via our social channels. The main advertising venues that we see being most effective for the nonprofits that we serve are Google Ad Grants and Facebook. There are other advertising venues, obviously digital advertising venues. These we find provide the most ROI. LinkedIn advertising is very expensive, Twitter advertising is very expensive, and we found that we've just been able to get the best results with these two channels. But there's always a case to be made for something different, and it's got to be customized case by case based on what the goal is. With Google Ad Grants, there are a lot of steps to get through and hoops to jump through, and we're happy to help. It really is worth it. We see organizations get a lot of traffic based on the Google Ad Grants program, but also, paying for paid advertising campaigns occasionally as well doesn't hurt. So Analyzing and optimizing. This is a really important part. As you've planned out activities for a quarter, for example, for a year, you want to be analyzing and optimizing the performance of those activities at least monthly. Um, so here, with a monthly, at least monthly analysis, you're going to be demonstrating results and continuously improving your activity. You want to have a team reporting session, reporting on SMART goals and key activities. So look at metrics like traffic, leads, conversion, and specific campaigns. And really brainstorm ideas for how to, if you're not seeing the results that you expected, what could be changed to achieve those results.